Here live soon.
Welcome to the Shamrock Sports Talk Show with your hosts, Igor Mitic from Serbia, Europe, and Andy Vernon from Concord, New Hampshire. We are about pride, tradition, sweat, tears, victory, and determination of Boston sports. Give us a ring at 512-543-4662. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Now, let's get into the Shamrock Sports Talk Show. Hello, and thank you for tuning into the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC, where you can find the best in sports talk television and radio shows. Mondays, check out the Just Us Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your hosts, Kevin L. Dixon and Dana Clark. Then Tuesday, we have the Stars Talking Cowboys Sports Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern with your hosts, Sean Fox, K Boogie, and Cowboys Nikki. And on Wednesday, tune in for the Out the Block Sports Talk Show from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with hosts Robert Lewis, Donna Hainsworth, and Brett Shields. Then meet up with us on Saturday for the Enhanced Sports Talk Show from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern with hosts Lou Tenor and Steve Davidson. We also have the DMV Sports Talk Show from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern with your host Razul McGee. As well, we have the Shamrock Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern with Igor Mitic and Andy Vernon. Finally, rounding out the week, we have on Sunday, That's Not How We See It Sports Talk Show from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern with your host, Alfred Wallace, Tony Wallace, and Harold Robinson III. These shows come to you by way of the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Shamrock Sports Talk Show. This is Season 1, Episode 22. The Celtics, the other night, defeated Atlanta Hawks 128-120 in Atlanta, and they closed the series 4-2. And now the Sixers are awaiting the Celtics in the second round. Let me just read you the results of the series. 120-114, first game. Boston defeated Atlanta in Boston. Then in Boston, 112-99 for Boston. Then game number 3, I think, 106-119 win for Atlanta. Then 119-106 win. Then 122-130 loss. Then 129-121 win. Then 119-117 loss in Boston. And then 128-120 win in Atlanta the other night, and 4-2. Boston closed the series a little harder than expected, I would say, Andy. But you know that Boston is better team, and nobody with sane mind thought that Boston would lose the series, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't, even when they were losing games they should have been winning, I don't think anybody was really that concerned. Um, it was more just they were getting into getting into the swing of the playoffs. I guess they were getting warmed up for the rest of the playoffs, but I don't think anybody was seriously concerned about them losing to the Hawks.
Yeah. On the other note, I would say. Um, I had somewhere a message for the Hawks fans watching this. Hawks, you were worldly opponents. What a battle that was! I mean, credit to them. I didn't think that they would give us this kind of battle. And listen, the other night, the game six, it came to the last 2 minutes. It was 113, 113, and then Boston went to 9-0 run. If I'm correct, Jalen Brown, then Al Horford, then Jason Tatum scored all, and the Celtics just did whatever big teams and the favorites are doing in these kind of situations. They made the good plays down the stretch. They blocked the shots like Horford. Brown was making plays. Brown scored. Brown made assists. Tatum scored. Horford blocked. Horford big three. Smart was doing smart things. The defense, and we closed the series. We kind of flipped the switch late in the last 2 minutes of the game number six, and we eliminated Atlanta. But Atlanta gave us a hell of a run, and I think that they had some injuries also. But never mind. I think that they did everything. What do you say about Quinn Snyder? He replaced the other coach later in the season, and Trey Young prized him. It seems like Quinn Snyder and Trey Young are going to continue to work in Atlanta. What can you tell us about Atlanta? Impressions?
I think the thing for Atlanta, first of all, it's very hard to evaluate any team when they go through like a mid to late season coaching change.
Oh.
I would almost never endorse making a decision like that unless it's very extreme circumstances. Just because you have a new coach come in the middle of the season, he doesn't have time to establish his culture, establish his rhythms, his strategy. He just kind of has to run with what the old coach had, and it's not really his style. So, definitely not ideal, even for for a coach like Quinn Snyder. I think the thing for me with Atlanta is they're a good team. They play hard, but I feel like they're definitely short at least one star. Trey Young, to me, I don't necessarily agree that he's overrated. I think he's always going to be seen that way because remember, he was the one the Hawks traded Luka Doncic for. And so you have to, if you're a Hawks fan or if you're looking at that team, you have to say, would they be in a different situation if they had Luka Doncic instead of Trey Young with that cast? I mean, that's a whole another question for another time. But I do think Trey Young, to me, is more of like a number 2 star on a team. I'm not convinced that you can win a championship with Trey Young as your best player. And then beyond him, they don't really have another star. I mean, Bogdanovich is a good player, but he's not a star. John Collins has regressed, I think, from where we saw him as a budding star, and I'd say he's now kind of regressed from that point.
Couple of seasons ago, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost from Miami, I think. Yes, Miami. And Collins was number 2 when you mentioned him. Started the team. And by the way, they lost Kevin Herter from that run, who was important in this rookie season, scoring threes. He's playing starter for Sacramento, And by the way, I'm excited about Sacramento and really hope that Sacramento is going to eliminate Golden State Warriors in the Game 7. But we will see. They were there in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they regressed. They played playing tournament, but we will see what happened to them. The picture that you can see on your screens, these are the numbers of top three stars of Boston Celtics in the game number 6. Jaylen Brown 32, 5 and 2, Tatum 30 and 7, 22, 4 and 4 for Smart. You add 10, 12 and 4, double from Horford, and 2 steals and 3 blocks. Great performance. And White 7-2, a little shy game, but good enough. And the sixth man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, 17, 2 and 4. From the bench, Grant Williams 3, 2 and 1, and Robert Williams 4, 6 and 0. Let us start discuss about the game number 6, for example. You know a little. I mean, the Celtics controlled the game pretty much. From the start till the end. Atlanta returned a couple of times, but pretty much the Boston Celtics were dominant team, I think. Let us first look at the numbers. The numbers from the game. Do I have the picture from the game? Yes, I do. So Celtics won 121-120, series 4 and 2. Brown mentioned 32 and 5. Tatum 30, 14, 7, 1, 2. Smart 22, 4, 4. Brogdon doing Brogdon things. He is great fit for Boston. 17, 2 and 4. Horford 10, 12, 4, 2, 3 blocks. Boston 50% field goals and 18 of 42 3-pointers. That's more than 50%. 40, 42, if I'm correct. I will look a little. Okay, let me just see. 3-pointers. Yes, 18 for 42. Atlanta was doing 15 of 35. We had +9 from the 3 points line. And also 7 turnovers. Now let me find Atlanta's numbers. Atlanta. So Young 32 and 10. Hunter 20 and 6. DeAndre Hunter, good defender. Collins 16 and 4, but he was playing like waiting on the wing for the 3. Murray 14, 7 and 11. You mentioned the second star, but I have feeling that he is still fitting with them. Atlanta shooting worse than Boston. 46.8% field goals. Atlanta 15 of 35 threes. Boston 8 threes. They had 18 threes, Boston, and Atlanta 15 +8 +9 from the 3 points line. Free throws +1 for Atlanta. 17 scored free throws. 17 made free throws. Atlanta. Boston 16. Rebounds 47-45 for Boston, and offensive rebounds 12-11 Atlanta. Assists 28-24 Atlanta. Still 7-5 Boston. Blocks 10-7 Boston. Boston played better defense. And turnovers 10-7 for Atlanta. So Boston was better in that category as well. So let me just say that my couple of impressions, takeaways from the game number 6. On Celtics blog, everyone contributed, which I mentioned. So everybody except White in the double figures from the starters. Brogdon in double figures. When you have 5 men in the double figures, when you're 2 stars scoring 62 points, when you have 2 double-doubles, I think that you cannot lose. Next up, Brown ties it. So Brown was great, as I mentioned, down the stretch, maybe the best player on the floor. Al Horford for the lead. Uh, I mean, that three and the block. Tatum steps back. Jalen Brown's blocks. Then Tatum follows. Then Rob's blocks and Smart loved and trusted. Tatum blocks and Sixers next 4 down, 12 to go. 16 equal number 18, banner number 18. Short the cover of the match from me. Now your points about the match and impressions.
Yeah, I thought Game 6 was a really good game coming off of the loss in Game 5. I think the big takeaway for me was that Boston was very consistent going through the game. So what we kind of saw in Game 5 was where they tapered off after the halftime period. They just couldn't really score. The defense kind of fell off. Whereas in Game 6, what we saw is they came out halftime. They were able to play the same level of basketball. And I forget who it was, but I believe it was a coach once said that the difference between a good team and a great team is that a great team can play 4 good quarters of basketball and a good team plays 3. And so I think that's kind of the thing that we saw with Boston is that they were able to play as a great team and produce consistently 4 good quarters of basketball. And so that was very encouraging to see because that tells us that they can do it. It's going to be very, very important as they move through the playoffs, especially with the opponents that we have ahead of us.
Okay, starters from the game 6 were Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Derek White, Marcus Smart. Hawk starters were Clint Capella, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, DeJounte Murray, and Trae Young. The great part of the win was a whole bunch of different Celtics stepped up. The Jays, Smart, Horford, Grant, Brogdon, Mazzula made a bunch of adjustments and good calls in the game number 6. In the game number 5, he needs to be criticized. Any closeout win is good. Now let's switch to the game number 5. I don't think that I have the picture from the game. That's why we're going to switch to another picture. For example, we are going to switch to Trae Young and Jason Tatum. Yes, so takeaways from okay, maybe do I have the starters? So the starters were the same at the game number 6 that the game number 5. The starters were the same that I just read. The starters at the game 5 were the same: Horford, Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Smart, Hawks, Capella, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, DeJounte Murray, Trae Young. I don't have 119, 117 loss. I will just say a couple of takeaways from the game number 5. A collapse, a blame pie. Tatum bad too late. Brown was bad too late. Smart was bad too late. Mazzula was bad too late. Mazzula too. Where is Grant Williams? Why the players like Muscala and Sam Husir and the others are having advantage at the rotations? Comparing to Grant Williams, who led the Celtics last year to the finals, for example. I still do not have the answer, but never mind. White needs to play late, less double big lineups, more Brogdon, for example. Don't talk about being better, just be better. And Mazzula said that he thought the Celtics lost the same of their pace down the stretch. He thought that allowed the Hawks to pressure them and to get in the passing lines, and that's why we lost. So, what do you think? What do you think about game number 5? How did you see it until I find impressions?
Well, I think the thing with Game 5, there's a lot of factors involved, and the Celtics certainly didn't play great. However, I also think that there were some things that just kind of aligned. It was a very close game right up until the end. The biggest criticism of Boston is the turnovers. I believe we had 9 turnovers in the game total. 5 of those turnovers were in the fourth quarter. And you can't do that in the playoffs because you turn the ball over 5 times. That's theoretically about 10 points. Even if you account for the math, that's at least 4 points probably that are going to go the other way. 4 to 6 points that are going to go the other way. And if you look at the score of that game, those turnovers made the difference. The other thing that really made a difference in that game was John Collins. The Celtics kind of dared him to shoot, and that's not a bad plan. John Collins this season was shooting about 3 pointers per game. I think he was about 29% on threes. So Boston was daring him to shoot. He shot 9 times. He made 4 of them. That's a 44% 3-point percentage. Sometimes that happens when you're daring a non-shooter to shoot. Sometimes they get lucky. And in that case, he got lucky. If he had shot his, that's another one of those scenarios. If he shot his season percentage on 3-pointers, Boston wins that game. So, I mean, I think Boston could have played better, but I also think that things kind of came together and worked out really well for Atlanta, too. They had a phenomenal night from beyond the arc, and Boston just wasn't able to answer in the final segments.
Okay, my impressions. We will analyze closely this game, and then we will skip up to the Sixers subject. I mean, we will comment a little about the playoffs and then the Sixers preview in the second part of our episode tonight. As we announced, it is often said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again while expecting the different result. If that is true, Boston Celtics are insane, saying Keith Smith. Throughout multiple playoff runs, the Celtics have struggled to close out games. Every once in a while, they do it, like the game 4 against Atlanta, and you would think that they figure it out. Then the game 5 came, and they look like the same old Celtics who have no idea how to close out the opponents. There is a belief in horse racing that some horses are better coming from behind because they have something to chase. When they're in front, the motivation isn't there. Maybe it is the same for Boston. Maybe Boston is like horse who love to run behind, and motivation is high. They are pretty good at coming from behind, but when they are just ahead, it's often they messed up. And ends in disappointment. This was frustration collapse the Celtics had the other night. Others have had bigger stakes, but this team is supposed to be in the finals, and the path to the NBA Finals is as open for them as it has been. Yet, instead of gearing up for the second round matchup for banged up likely MVP, Boston is heading back to Atlanta for the game 6. The blame pie. This is a pretty big blame pie cut, and we are going to say that Derek White, Al Horford, or any of the bench guys didn't play well. Instead, we're going to, instead, we're going to serve heaping helpings to the Celtics core. Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, and Mazzula. Those are the main guys. That's true even if White has been Boston's third best player all the season long. Tatum, Brown, and Smart are the ones who are supposed to come through when the Celtics need it most, and Mazzula is supposed to shepherd them along the way. So let's start. Jason Tatum did a lot of good stuff throughout the game. He was 7 of 11 and the 2 point shoots. He had 8 assists against the only 2 turnovers. His defense was good as always. Tatum was 1 of 11 from 3 pointers. I repeat, 1 of 11. One of his turnovers came off a baffling casual play, which he compounded with a foul. He also picked up technical foul for complaining, which is dubious, but one that is regularly called. And no, Onyeka Okongwu didn't do the exact same thing a little bit later. Tatum was massive part of Boston going back into same old walk it up, kill the clock offense as he killed the Celtics for years now. After Jaylen Brown made a 3 pointer to put the Boston up 13 with 6 in 10 to play, the Celtics played a snail's pace led by their offensive leader Tatum. Tatum was bringing up the ball, dribbling to 35, 40 feet to the basket and just staying there. A couple of times he picked up the teammates, but most of the times everything was just going to be milking the clock. By the time they were even getting into anything, the clock was also low. Attempts were rushed and forced. This isn't all. As Mazzula said, Tatum should have taken actions earlier to make the Celtics continue to play with the pace and space, but it is on a lot of on Tatum. He's the one with the ball. He's the guy the Celtics count to lead them. Last part of Tatum sharing the blame pie. He took one shot in the final 5 minutes of the game, and the leader should do it better. It was pull-up 3 with 4:47 to go. The last shoot wasn't taken in time, so it didn't count. One shoot in near 5 minutes for the Celtics franchise player. And he admitted, he said, it was on me. To be fair, that's what leaders do. What do you say?
Yeah, so I think like the thing that's very odd to me about Game 5 is when you look at the minute breakdown, you're in a closeout game, a close closeout game. Jason Tatum played like 7 minutes and like less than 7.5 minutes. He's your star player. He is the face. I mean, like I personally see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as being relatively equal players, just in different ways. But I think the consensus view across the NBA fan base is that Jason Tatum is the face of the Celtics franchise.
Of course.
Why is the face of your franchise playing 7.5 minutes in a closeout playoff game and taking 2 shots? Like that doesn't in the whole that quarter he took 2 shots. So I have to really question that. Al Horford played 9 minutes, and I think Horford maybe had like 1 assist to show for it. And I like Horford, but he has not been very good this series, right? And so I guess to me the question becomes rotations. I could see Horford staying in there because he is such an integral part of the team. But if you're Joe Mazzula, and I do think Tatum should have been more aggressive, but at the same time, you're the head coach. Like, you need to have your starting your franchise player in for more than 7 minutes and 14 seconds, I think, is something like what Tatum played. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. He's the guy who's supposed to be the face of the franchise. He's supposed to be our closer. You know, he needs to be in games in a closeout playoff game. And the other thing that's kind of interesting to me is Grant Williams didn't play at all, and there's something very, very weird going on.
Do you smell maybe Boston walking away from him because Danilo Gallinari returning maybe?
No, because that wouldn't make sense either. Because if Boston is going to step away from Grant Williams, they want to play him in the playoffs so that he can put up good numbers because then he has trade value. Grant Williams was phenomenal last year in the playoffs. If he had a similar run this year, you go to trade him, you're going to get something really good in return. So I
Exactly.
guess
Hmm.
I don't understand what like there has to
Me
be some
neither.
weird like locker room internal issue going on
Yes, 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 yes,
because
yes,
there's
yes,
no
yes.
reason for Grant Williams not to be seeing the court more. He was I would argue
I
Grant
agree.
Williams was integral last year to Boston's deep playoff run.
Absolutely.
And for him to not
Absolutely.
play at all is just inexplicable to me.
Inexplicable. Continuation, blaming Pi. Jalen Brown was wonderful throughout the first three periods of the game five. He even scored 8 points in the fourth. Well, in the first 6 minutes of the fourth, at least Brown, just like Tatum, disappeared. In the 6 minutes, final 6 minutes, Brown missed both of his shoots, committed a bad turnover, and nearly have had two others. And his defense wasn't good late either. Much like Tatum, Brown was a damaging player when Boston needed him to be a closer. To be fair, Brown was thrown a couple of, bad passes late in the clock, and he was forced to try to create something with 5 or less seconds. But he should be able to handle some of that at this point of career. Next one, Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was on the bench when the Hawks scored the first 6 points in their 12-0 run. Uh, 12-0 run began with 5:24 mark and 2:42 mark in the fourth. So we can't put any of that on him. But the next 6 points featured heavy dose of Smart. Trey Young hit a three when Smart appeared to be on a different page than his teammate, as so defensive coverage. Then Smart had a terrible turnover, and Young immediately came back to hit another three to tie the game. Somehow it came from bad to worse. While Boston was nursing the 2 point lead, Smart committed moving screen. Inexplicable. On the following Hawks possession, he again soft switched, and it put Horford in tough spot against Young. Then, after the Celtics took a lead off a weird play where Williams won a jump ball and somehow got a layup finish, Boston was in one stop and it's over territory. Smart tried to be a hero and went for a steal about 45 feet from the basket. He deflected the ball cleanly at first, but then he pushed a dough through Young. It was blatant foul, and it came at the worst time possessions. Look, we all love and trust Smart, we really do. But this was bad, and he's down the stretch in a game maybe ever. Part of loving and trusting someone is being honest, and Smart messed up major way. What do you say, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, like I said earlier, I mean, like I think Boston could have played better. I think there were errors all around, but ultimately, I don't see Game Five as something that Boston lost so much as a game that Atlanta won. Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
yeah, and I don't really like putting it that way, but I think the game turned out the way it did more so because Atlanta had really good performances and Boston
mm-hmm.
was average. There were some mistakes. The 5 turnovers is problematic, but ultimately, I think the biggest thing with Boston that I question is just that rotation with Tatum only playing 7 minutes. I didn't think that was a good call, but ultimately, I think with Game Five, um, the real credit for that game should go to Atlanta, or the blame
Okay.
should go to Atlanta for playing a really good game of basketball, keeping it close, then making the shots that counted down the stretch. Boston, like the big thing to take away from that game is we have to watch the fourth quarter turnovers. I think that's the biggest thing. You can't have 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter against a good team.
It is time for Joe Mazzula's part of the blame pie. Um, so what Keith Smith wrote before we got there for the Celtics fans, stop asking for Ime Udoka to come back. He's in Houston, if I'm correct. So stop crying about Ime Udoka being gone. He was fired for cause and for good reason. He's also get another job in Houston. He's never going to coach Celtics again. Get over it. It's worse than crying over spoiled milk because it's completely overlook his very serious uh, aggression as a person of power in the Boston organization. Just move ahead. Back to basketball and Mazzula. We talk about it. Where is the heck Grant Williams? The whole deal of not playing Williams is ridiculous. You have to wonder if it's personal at this point because there is no basketball strategy that is making sense. Williams has been meaningful action in this series, played well, and went right back to being glued at the bench. Blake Griffin was terrific story this season, and we all love his style, but playing him over Grant Williams in the fourth period of closeout games making no sense at all. Nor did inserting Mike Muscala over Williams in game four and playing Hussier over Williams as well. So it can't be matchup thing neither. As Boston is playing pretty much double big lineups, more of that later. Williams can defend anyone. The Hawks are rolling out at 3-5 positions. He can make shoot screens and keep the ball moving. So why Mazzula is gone away from the guy that was one of the Boston's top 8 guys that led him to the NBA Finals? At first, it seems to be deal that Mazzula was saving Williams for the playoffs and against Embiid and Giannis, but there is more than that. Mazzura hasn't said anything more than matchups when asked about lack of Williams, but that's not good enough. If that is true or Mazzula is wrong and not changing it up reeks of stubbornness, and it's time to admit it. So, what do you say? I mean, do you have something to add about Williams?
Well, I think some of it might have to do with the fact that the Celtics really like playing Derek White and Marcus Smart. So that's your point guard, shooting guard, and then you keep JB in the game. That's small forward. Tatum's your power forward, and Mazzula seems to be reluctant to run with a very undersized big like Grant Williams at 5. I'm not sure I fully agree with that, especially against the Hawks. Like Capella would be better than Williams on the boards, but it's not as if Horford was spectacular at rebounding either. I do think Horford played good defense on Capella, and maybe that was part of it. But at the same time, I think there's something to be said. Grant Williams was a great shooter. He was a really, really good perimeter shooter. And I feel like there's something to be said for maybe trying to make a run, not in big minutes, but in small segments where you run that ultra small lineup like Golden State did with their lineups using Draymond at the 5. And you play Grant Williams at the 5, especially against the team I think like the Sixers with Embiid, and you run a 5-out lineup that's fast, athletic, small, and you basically use it in small bursts to try to hit a clutch of 3-pointers and wear down the other team. So what I don't understand is why you're giving like Sam Hosier or Sam Hauser, I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't know why he's getting more minutes than Grant Williams, who is kind of a proven commodity on the team.
Mike Muscala, Blake Griffin.
Yeah, I could see Blake Griffin and Muscala because they're bigger players, so maybe that's what they're going for. They're closer to a 5. But that, it once again, it just doesn't make sense. It feels to me like there's some sort of personal or interior team issue. Like it's based on matchups. It sounds kind of like Bill Belichick after he benched Malcolm Brogdon against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Like that's very much what it feels like. It feels like there's some sort of personal or disciplinary dynamic involved, and the team just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I have a couple of ones, and we will move up really quick. About Horford, in the first two games, it seems to me that it will be the sweep of the series. To tell you the truth, Atlanta didn't seems like going well against us, and Boston obviously the better team. They then found something in the game number three. Quinn Snyder is a smart coach. Two things: they attacked our offensive glass because we play in small ball, and a little about this later. And number two, Horford defense of the pick and roll. It seems like Boston is not switching all with Al Horford and preserving his energy. They're playing like soft hedge, pick and roll defense, or even sagging out in the pick and roll defense. And Snyder was attacking with Capella and Trey Young, Capella and Collins over and over and over and over and over again. Al Horford in the pick and roll sets. And it worked. And they won the two games, with that kind of strategy. And kudos to them, like you said, and kudos to Quinn Snyder. Continuation to the blaming pie and to finish with the game. Why is Derek White ever out of the game late? White has been the Boston's third best player of the series. He's been the best defensive player all year long, even better than Smart, and he's been consistently positive on offense. It is making no sense at all when he's not playing down the stretch. If the goal is to win the title, Joe Mazzula needs to have the courage to put Marcus Smart on the bench. If Marcus Smart cannot accept it, then he is not the Celtics we thought he was. The bet is that Smart won't be happy about it, but he will get it. This isn't to suggest the White should be go wire to wire in the fourth, but if it's close with 6 minutes to play, White needs to be there, and I think that's true. Next one, out of necessity, Boston largely move away from big double big lineup this season, and they are pretty successful going into a season with one big on the floor this time. In this series, that has reversed a major way. Now we aren't going to say it's always the wrong call. Atlanta has had enough success on the boards, but that having Robert Williams and Al Horford out there together makes sense. Robert Williams was one only Celtics doing positive things in the final few minutes of the game. That has been said, the Boston needed to keep scoring. That isn't happening at the rate it needs with both bigs on the floor late in the game. From the day they introduced him, everyone from Celtics personnel to the Celtics fan base said Malcolm Brogdon was the missing piece. One more guy who could make plays late in the game could make sense. But, Joe Mazzulla glued Brogdon to the bench in the crunch time. He's watching from the bench. That's not what this team set expectation for. And Joe Mazzulla has to be willing to take all the above to combine into better lineups. It feels like Boston best closing lineup could be one big, probably Horford, Tatum, Brown, White, and Brogdon. And if it's really need a stop of rebound, put Smart or Williams in, but otherwise close the games out. And finally, this was a lot, the frustration, but expectation didn't change. Boston should be to the NBA Finals and be even favorites to win the finals. Nothing has changed, and Boston is just very talented team, but we missed couple of games. Let's just discuss the playoffs. Finally, we are over with Atlanta series. It was a lot, but a little couple of words about the playoffs. I have the bracket here, and first thing that I'm going to present, this is a little deer. Fear the deer, or the deer doesn't want to come on our screens. Come on. Okay. This is a little deer watching uh, over the board and the Bucks fans to Baden-Holzer. We had timeouts about the last game, but never mind. It was a little mockery of Milwaukee Bucks. And the major story of the playoffs, Bucks eliminated. And I mean, Miami, Jimmy, Jimmy Butler just demolished Milwaukee Bucks. Do you have some words for it? Quick, Andy.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
I think at the end of the day,
4-1.
Giannis wasn't able to play all the games. That was a big factor for the Bucks. When you take away Giannis, they're a team that doesn't really have a superstar. I mean, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday are good players, but they're not superstars.
Nope.
And so with Giannis out of the picture, that the Bucks weren't able to get it done. I think if they had him at full health for those games, then yeah, I think they probably would be advancing. But the NBA being what it is, having your team show up healthy to the playoffs is a big part of it, and Milwaukee just wasn't able to do that.
So seeds remaining for both second round of the playoffs. Number 1 Nuggets, number 2 Celtics, number 3 Sixers, number 4 Suns, number 5 Knicks, number 7 Lakers, number 8 Heat. Another one, number 3 Kings or number 6 Warriors. Let us just so we mentioned that Miami. Defeated Bucks 4-1. Knicks defeated the Cavaliers easier than expected 4-1. Sixers Nets 4-0. Boston defeated Atlanta 4-2. Semifinals are the Heat and Knicks. April 30th, 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Sixers and the Celtics at the other part of the bracket. Let me just find it. Oh man. So for some reason it doesn't want to include.
Well, I'll just say right now, I think the Lakers in my
Lakers
eyes,
4-2.
The Lakers
Okay.
are my favorites to come out of the West, period. I mean, they look like they've hit their stride. AD looks amazing. LeBron looks like LeBron. D'Angelo Russell, bringing him back was perfect for them. I think, I mean, let me put it this way. They look good right now, and I'm not going to bet against LeBron James in the playoffs.
So the Nuggets and the Suns are starting 30 minutes after the end of our show, or in 45 minutes approximately. And Lakers are playing against Kings or Warriors. I would say that you are correctly probably, but I would not count out the Suns. And I would say that Golden State Warriors can stop the Lakers if they advance, even though they are not looking good. I think that they can defeat the Lakers, but everything is open at the West. Probably you can be right, even though I'm going to say that nobody, including me, are believing that Denver Nuggets are going to win the West. I think they're going to lose from Phoenix. Maybe I'm wrong, and you will, you will say that I'm wrong. What do you see in Phoenix Suns and Denver Nuggets matchup?
If the Suns stay healthy, I think they beat the Nuggets. I think the biggest thing in the Suns' way, the two biggest obstacles for them are their own health and the Lakers. I think those are the two things that are standing between the Suns and getting to the NBA Finals.
Okay, the last 12 minutes of the show we are going to dedicate to the Philadelphia and 76ers and Boston Celtics rivalry. This is number 2 and 3 matchup, if I'm correct. This is, I found the bracket. The bracket is there, so you could see what we're talking about. Of course, here the Lakers advanced. Kings and Warriors game number 7, and everything is there as we mentioned. So Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns starting tonight. Knicks and Heat semifinals tomorrow. Celtics and Sixers semifinals tomorrow. Here is your bracket, ladies and gentlemen. At the moment, with little correction. Now the history of the game. As you can see, there is a lot of history, a lot of a timeless matchup, a lot of history of Philadelphia, and I will probably use it as announcing the series. And let's start. We have 10 minutes quick. So the Philadelphia against Boston, the semifinals matchup with the game 1 in TD Garden, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Though there is a chance the Sixers could reach Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 2001. Thanks to balanced attack, the Celtics took 3 out of 4 match games from the Sixers this season. The Celtics were able to turn to just about anybody to produce on the floor, something coach Doc Rivers and company will have to contend with. Of course, the big question in this series is the status of Joel Embiid, who is dealing with sprained LCL. His status will closely be monitoring tomorrow ahead of the game number 1. Before trying to preview the series and breaking down the matchups. Number 1, Tyrese Maxey against Boston's perimeter defense. Let's say Smart, White, Brown. Maxey had a tough time getting against the Celtics in regular season in the floor. With the Celtics coming off the bench twice, he's averaged 10 points and shooting 35% from floor, 21 from deep. The Celtics have a legit perimeter defense in Smart, White, and Brown. They also have smart big men who can stymie Maxey when he gets to the rim. Getting Maxey going has to be paramount on the offense. With Embiid's injury, they will need the young guard to, of Kentucky to get going, to find a way to score consistently and to find open looks. Quickly, what do you think about Maxey?
I mean, I think at this point, in the interest of time, we'll just go through the whole Sixers lineup. I mean, Maxey's probably going to match up with either Smart or Derek White. The baseline is really, you could say, for all the players on the Sixers team, they will have the best player in the series with Joel Embiid. And Boston has no answer for a healthy Embiid. However, Embiid is not healthy. And any time that you have a big man with a sprained tendon in the leg, there's a major, major concern there, especially a guy as big as Embiid. So the Celtics are going into this as the better team, and they match up better at every other position because we have good defensive guards with Derek White and Marcus Smart who can defend Maxey and James Harden. James Harden did not have a great series against Brooklyn. He was very inefficient in most of those games.
Shooting 24% on the layups against Brooklyn.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same burst that he used to have. And so I think Boston will probably match Smart up with him or Derek White. Either one could defend him probably now. And then they're going to match up Tatum or Brown on Harris. The Sixers.
The
Sixers could defend either Tatum or Brown. They don't have somebody, because who are you going to have Tyrese Maxey defend?
Nice. Let's talk about Harden quick and Tobias Harris. Jace Harden has been able to get to the rim in the first round against the Nets, but finishing to the rim was trouble. He shot only 24% on layups against Brooklyn. He has to be better against the Celtics if they want to win. As it for the Maxey, Philadelphia needs to scoring and Harden to lead the way on the offensive end. They need Houston Harden back. Stopping the Jays, something discussed. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to have the Sixers' biggest headache through the series. Philadelphia will likely blitz both when given the opportunity in the half court. One can assume Tobias Harris will be assigned to one of them, and PJ Tucker will guard the other one. In the 4 games during the regular season, Tatum averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, but he's only shooting 29% from deep. Brown, 3 games against the Sixers, 22 points, shooting 48% from the floor, and little better, 30% from the floor. The two of them scored 30 plus in each clincher over the Hawks. Now we are coming to what you were saying, Tobias Harris factor. Harris was phenomenal against the Nets, 20 points average, 57% shooting from the floor, 57 from threes. The question is whether he can continue against the Celtics. Harris historically produced very good numbers in the first round, but his semifinals numbers are not great. Against Toronto, 2019, he was 14 points, 38% shooting, 28% from deep. 2028 against the Hawks, 19 points, 47% shooting, 36 from deep. 2022 second round against Miami, 16 points, 48 shooting, 33% from deep. So semifinals numbers are not great. If Harris can produce something close to his numbers against the Hawks, the Sixers will have a good chance to win the series. What do you say about
the thing
Tobias?
The thing with Tobias Harris is that, obviously you went over the history. He's not historically a great playoff performer. He had a good game against Brooklyn, but I feel like people you can't really take what the Sixers did against Brooklyn, because playing against Brooklyn was basically playing against the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns bench, because that's Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, that's really what Brooklyn was. So I don't think that you could really take. I think Harris is going to have a much tougher time. Probably, I'm guessing Tatum will probably be his primary defender. The big thing for Boston defensively is we cannot let the perimeter defense collapse because of Embiid. The way, if I was Mazzula, the way I would approach this series is I would make Embiid with his sprained tendon beat us on his own. I'd say, you know what, Joel Embiid, you could go ahead and score 50 points per game in the paint. I don't care. You're going to have to win the team. You're going to have to win this game by yourself, because we're going to lock down your perimeter shooters, and you're going to have to score 50. You're going to have to score 60, 70 points to win. And that's how I would play this series and make Embiid work, because physically speaking, he's hobbled. I mean, I don't see where the big thing, once again, to me, is just we cannot let Embiid collapse the perimeter defense. If we lose because Joel Embiid scores 70 points per game, fine. I am 100% fine with that. I will take that loss happily. But if we lose because we collapsed into Embiid and PJ Tucker goes off for 5 3-pointers in two different games, that will upset me a lot more.
So PJ Tucker, the Sixers brought Tucker here for moments like this. He made numerous big hustle plays against the Nets in the first round. Now he must do it so against the Celtics. In the last matchups against Boston on April 4th, Tucker had 11 points and great three-pointers in the fourth to seal the wheel. He has to bring that production in the series, shooting only 20% from deep against Brooklyn. The status of Embiid, anything the Sixers do in the series is going to depend on health of Embiid. If Embiid misses any time, it's tough to see Philadelphia being able to overcome the big loss against the Celtics. The fact this series doesn't begin until Monday gives him time to rest. Series prediction. Everything in this series depends on Embiid. Even if he does play at this point of career, he will not be 100% healthy. And it will be tough for the Sixers to overcome it. They would need Harden and Maxey, the big-time scorers. The Philadelphia will need their role players to come up big. the next level. And the Celtics have a lot of depth on the roster, better bench, while Tatum and Brown are two-headed snakes for Boston. They can rely on the legs of White, Horford, Smart, Brogdon, Grant Williams, and the others, and that could make a difference in the series. Prediction: the Celtics in 6. You, my friend.
Yeah, I think Boston will win in 6. I actually think we could theoretically sweep the Sixers if, and here's
Okay.
the thing, I know that it won't happen because I know they're going to go with playing a lot of Al Horford. If I was Mazzula, I would change up my game script. I would run a lot of Time Lord and Grant Williams at the 5, and I would just push the pace, and make Embiid sprint on his injured leg up and down the court over and over again. And that would be my plan of attack, because without Embiid, I am not at all worried about the Sixers. So I don't think Boston will do that. I think we'll go, and my biggest worry is we go double big and lose games because of it. I don't think, despite the fact that Embiid is a dominant center, I don't think you go double big against him, because I don't think that Robert Williams and Al Horford putting them out there together is going to significantly impact the ability to limit Embiid. Like I said, my preference is to lock down the perimeter and make Embiid score 70 points a game to beat us. That would be my personal preference, and make him run and work and put as much work on that knee as possible.
I would start Robert Williams instead of Horford, not double big lineup. The Celtics defeated three games against one against series. In points, the Celtics better 110 compared to 106. Field goal percentage, Celtics 59%, Philly 54%. Three-pointers made, the Celtics 15.5 and Philly 11. Free throws made, Philly better, 20 made free throws and better attempts, more attempts than the Celtics, thanks to Embiid. Celtics only 11 made free throws, rebounds 42-37 better Celtics, and assists 24-19 better Celtics, and fast break points, the Celtics 17.5 and Sixers 7.5, the Celtics better in the fast break points. My man, the show came to an end. It was really pleasure. I wish you good night, and go Celtics tomorrow, beat the Sixers. Nobody doubt that we will beat the Sixers, right?
Go Celtics.
We will see you the next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Root for the Celtics and stay safe.
Thank you for listening to the Shamrock Sports Talk Show. We're here every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are the best 4-leaf lucky show in the area. This show comes to you by way of the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC. And be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC, where you can find the best in sports talk television and radio shows. Mondays, check out the Just Us Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your hosts, Kevin L. Dixon and Dana Clark. Then Tuesday, we have the Stars Talking Cowboys Sports Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern with your hosts, Sean Fox, K Boogie, and Cowboys Nikki. And on Wednesday, tune in for the Out the Block Sports Talk Show from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with hosts Robert Lewis, Donna Hainsworth, and Brett Shields. Then meet up with us on Saturday for the Enhanced Sports Talk Show from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern with hosts Lou Tenor and Steve Davidson. We also have the DMV Sports Talk Show from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern with your host Razul McGee. As well, we have the Shamrock Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern with Igor, Mitic, and Andy Vernon. Finally, rounding out the week, we have on Sunday, That's Not How We See It Sports Talk Show from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern with your host, Alfred Wallace, Tony Wallace, and Harold Robinson III. These shows come to you by way of the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC. Be sure to download the Try99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support.